is pretty daggum cute, guys. You gotta see this. Hold on. My dog is at my feet. Look at how cute she is. She's like, I'm going to sleep here, but if I wake her, she'll have to go pee, and I don't want to deal with that. So let's see if we can get this Authortube tag done and out of the way with before I have to take the 10-week-old puppy out potty, because that can take a little bit. My name is Natalie Griffin, and I have tried multiple times to join Authortube before it was actually a thing, and very quickly I privated any video that I had or deleted some of them. There are multiples that I cannot find anywhere. So hopefully I don't chicken out this time. This time I have a backing of other writers here in the Oklahoma area who I know will definitely get on to me if I just chicken out and delete everything. So I have the questions pulled up on my computer down here. I've got my tea, I've got my questions. Let's get to it. The first question is, how did you find out about Authortube? I found out about Authortube being an actual thing whenever I discovered Kate Kavanaugh. I'm not sure when it was, probably beginning of this year, end of last year. I decided, you know, there used to be nobody on YouTube and I hadn't checked in a long time. I'll go ahead and why not see if there's anybody out there. And boy was I surprised and super happy that there's actually people out here. And I've been procrastinating and thinking about joining. I've been a silent stalker ever since. Question number 2 is, what genres do I write in? I am a historical fiction writer. My books typically are set around the 1850s to 1900, usually in the South or in the Oklahoma area of the South, which that's a discussion all in of itself. I've been fascinated with the time period since probably I was about 10, and I was homeschooled, and so a lot of times when I was supposed to be working on schoolwork, I would spend that time researching historical things, historical clothing, historical prices, how they did this, how they did that. I loved it. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? My preferred writing tense is probably going to be first person, and I know a lot of people tend to go on the third person route, and I love it and I can write in it, but I personally really like getting deep into my main character's point of view, into their thought process, into everything that's going on around them. I really like to become that main character. Number 4 is, are you a plotter, pantster, or planster? I am definitely a plotter. I used to be kind of a pantser, only I never really got past a certain point in my books. So it's gotten to the point that now what I do is I will usually come up with a scene and start daydreaming it out obsessively. I obsess over it. I'll listen to music and make like music videos in my head with the music, and each story ends up with a notebook. I word vomit whatever I think of in chronological order, just go for it, and then do it again, and then eventually I put kind of an outline on my computer. But anytime I need to word vomit anything, pro or con list anything about that story, it's in here. But it's quite fun. 5 is, are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? I am yet to be published, but I am working very, very hard on it. I do have one story that I am giving a 3rd draft right now, but I did query it for the past year. The only reason I took it down is because I feel like it can use a little bit more meat. I've learned a lot more over the past year of really honing my craft, and feel like I can make the story a lot bigger and badder and just so much better than it was before. I had decent success with querying it. I had several bites. They didn't go through to anything. I like to say because of 2020, but you know, it's the creative world. If it's not exactly what they need, it's not what they need. I will start querying this one again in 2021 and earlier if I get my edits done quickly enough. This next question is, if you're not yet published, what is your dream publishing house and or literary agent? I don't necessarily have a dream one. I would absolutely love to be in the top 5, but don't we all? For a literary agent, I just want somebody who I can work really well with, who I can understand, who I can talk to about this, that, or the other thing with my stories, and I hope they'll tell me the truth. And I don't know, I just want us to meld well together and be able to work together to make it exactly what it needs, like a power team. That's what I want. I want somebody that I can work together with. What Authortube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? So I actually made a list because I was afraid to jump in and not have any ideas of where to go. I do know I want to do weekend writing vlogs because the weekend is my main time to be able to write. I own my own company and it tends to kill me during the week. At least it feels that way sometimes. The weekend writing vlogs, vlogging my writing weekend and how I got to my goals. And those are my favorite videos to watch on YouTube. So I figure there's other people like me who would enjoy writing them, who would enjoy watching them as well. I have several other random ideas in here, like talking about how I write while owning my own company, how it affected me during the pandemic when my company was shut down, and my writing group that I am a part of, how I found them, how I work with them, and the conferences that I get to go to once things open up again. When did you start writing? I started writing immediately. My mom can tell stories of me telling her stories when I was just in diapers and I wasn't even speaking English. She says I would go on and on and on in baby language about very adamant stories and then be done and happy. When I learned English, I would scribble on a piece of paper wildly and memorize what my brain says I wrote down and tell it the story to. I would rehearse it over and over and over to make sure I got it perfect, and then I'd go tell my parents my story. So I've always been writing. What was the first story you ever wrote? I'm gonna go with the first story I ever actually finished, and I actually have it. Give me a second. This is it. It's called Chirichiria, which I have no idea if that's actually even a word, but it's like horrible. But it was about a dog. I think she got lost, and that's about all I know about this story. It's really hard to read. I didn't know about things called dialogue tags or really any punctuation, and my paragraphs are horrendous and this is horrible. I probably wrote this in 2nd grade. I wish there was a date on this. I think it's probably about 2nd grade. What authors have inspired your writing the most? I think, honestly, Lemony Snicket. When I was reading the series of unfortunate events, I just couldn't help thinking, wow, he actually wrote what he wanted to write, and it worked. He didn't have to sit there and fear what everybody was like, oh, you wrote this weird stuff. You can't get away with that. And I think it just brought to light that I can do the same thing. I think it was the first book series I read where it hit me that this is really what I want to do. I want to write for a living, and I want to write what I want to write, not what my family says I should write, not what my school teacher says I should write. I want to write what I want to write because that's what makes me happy, and that's what's always made me happy. Number 11 is, do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing whenever you can find the time? I try to schedule them. That's the only way that this works. The only issue with that is my work schedule, it'll vary. Sometimes I'll get home at 3 p.m. Sometimes I'll get home at 5 p.m. If I get home at 3 p.m., I write till 5. If I don't do that, it won't happen. If I get home at 5 p.m., it's a lot harder to get any writing done during the day because I have a family. I don't have any children, but I have my husband, and we have our evening routine. Let's face it, you want to spend time with your family. You have things to do. You want to chill out on the couch and eat dinner and just have a conversation with your partner. If I get home at 5 p.m., usually I don't end up writing. But if I have a deadline, whether it's a self-imposed deadline or something like that, we definitely make sure I carve out the time to be sure that happens. I'm off work on Fridays. If I did work on Fridays, I would lose my mind. So I use those days as my writing days. Those are my day to work as a writer. And I usually do that on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if I can. Do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those? And where do you write in general? I write on a computer. I have my Mac. It is my baby. I absolutely love it. And that is where I write. I plot in a notebook because my mind formulates things better like that. What are you most looking forward to now that you're a part of Authortube? I think what I'm looking forward to most is becoming part of the community. I mean, I grew up without any other writing nerds. I had friends who wrote stories, but I really didn't have anybody else who was pursuing it as their career, who felt like if they didn't write, they might just blow away and die. Now I have that in real life. I have a writers group I'm a part of. I go to different conferences in the DFW area and in Oklahoma. It's probably the only social contact I crave is with other authors. So I'm not entirely certain how to end this. So I'm just going to show you a sleeping puppy. Oh, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, June. This is June. That is Willow. And this is April. April.